Hello, welcome back to Wealth with Joanne, the podcast. My name is Joanne and I am your host. I'm so happy to be back. Yes, I've been absent without leave. I do apologise. Today's episode is all about where I've been, what's been going on, and why I haven't been recording for the past 4 months. But I am back and that's all that matters. So let's get straight into it. I think the last podcast that I recorded might have been October or November. I can't remember. I should actually check. And I didn't quit. I'm still here. It's not because I lost my passion, but because I genuinely didn't have the mental capacity to hold one more thing in my head. There's a lot has been happening over the past few months. You're now listening to a married woman. So I got married in December. And I have been in my little wedding bubble, I think, for maybe 4 weeks after that. And previous to that, if you are married, you will know the amount of planning that goes into a wedding. So it's not just flowers, it's logistics, it's money. And I know I've made a lot of episodes about money. It's family dynamics, it's emotional processing. It's still going to work, trying to run your business, being a partner, being a daughter, being a friend, having a social life. So all of those things are wrapped up in one big wedding bow. I got to a point where I did have to sit down and reflect on, okay, what can I fit in here to make my brain feel like I'm not going to explode? So there was days when I would open up my laptop to record and I just felt like I hadn't researched, I didn't know what to say, I was overthinking it, so I'd put the laptop away and think, right, I'll do that tomorrow. I also had days where I was so tired that I didn't want to speak, if I'm honest, and that was the first time in the whole 2 years the podcast is been going that I was like, oh, I haven't got the energy for it. And I also then didn't want to just put something out for the sake of it, just creating to keep up appearances, because I didn't want to lose what I'd created with the podcast. So with all that being said, I decided that I wasn't going to record again until early in the year. There was other things as well that I've taken a step back from. So I decided not to take up any mentoring for a few months. I'm actually waiting until the summer to do that online. I picked up more face-to-face classes, so of course that took more of my time as well. I decided to step back from Instagram. I'm only posting 4 times maximum a week. I've taken social media off my phone. So just having the wedding really allowed me to reflect and think, right, okay, I'm doing a lot here. So there was YouTube, my vlogs, the wealth videos. I was trying to make a bank of yoga videos for my second YouTube channel, recording my podcast, going to work, planning the wedding, all the things that I've already listed. So I was like, right, okay, do you know what? I'm just going to pause everything that's online until after the wedding, which is what I did. And I want today's episode to just be a reminder that it is okay to do that. It's okay to take a step back from things sometimes if you're feeling like you've got a mental overload. And that sounds dramatic. It sounds, oh, I've got a mental overload, I can't do that. But I know you're all listening to this thinking, yeah, you're right. There's things where we try to fit so much in that something just gives. And it's a huge sign where you have to sit down and you have to reevaluate, right, what am I doing here? Because it stops bringing you joy and it starts bringing you tiredness, resentfulness, and reminding you that rest is not a failure. Rest isn't failure. If you take a step back from something, you are not failing. You are just allowing things to realign. And that's how I feel now. As I'm talking now, I'm like, yes. This is the time. I am ready to start recording once more. I decided to also not record visually for the podcast anymore because I was looking at the downloads, and for the amount of time that it was taking me to edit the visual videos, and just getting ready for them, making myself look presentable, for the amount of time the amount of time it was taking me to get ready compared to the downloads for YouTube, it was my ego telling me that I needed to do that. And I stepped back, thought, right, okay, let's just focus on the audio because that's where people are downloading. That's where people are listening. So hello, everyone listening. You won't be able to watch these on YouTube until I'm ready to start recording again. And that's okay. No one's going to shoot me. No one's going to die. Everything's okay. And again, I just needed myself to tap in to remind myself that, because I was forcing myself to do the things that were draining me. And while I'm here just talking about YouTube, my YouTube is just now going to be vlogs. So, and I feel happy with that. So I'll share more on that as we go, but just, little sneaky segue there just to plug. There's a new vlog going to be coming out the same week as this podcast. Okay, so the cognitive overload, what happened? Obviously, planning the wedding. Let's talk about the wedding just for a minute. I don't want this to be all about the wedding. If you do follow me on Instagram at Joanne_wealth, you can go and have a little look at a few sneak peek photos. The wedding was amazing. We had an amazing day. Everything worked out perfectly. I created all of the decorations for the tables. So I made all of those. So in the afternoons, what I was doing was coming home and getting out my glue gun. I'd tried to make everything as sustainable as possible. So all of the vases that were on the tables were donated milk bottles from somebody in my community. And then I bought decorations to stick on. Actually, most of these now are in the kitchen. So they go with the kitchen decor. So I made all of those. I think there might have been 50 in total, as well as, the other planning and the timelines and, budgets and researching things and, everything that goes into planning a wedding, which I don't mind. I actually really enjoyed planning the wedding. So obviously my husband still feels really weird to say that. He works in the day. So I have these times in the afternoons to do these things. And I loved being creative. But what I also, again, didn't have time to do was come home and edit vlogs, edit podcasts, record podcasts. So I had to reassess, like, what do I need to do? And, with the cognitive overload there for the wedding is making sure I got the timelines. There was family issues as well, which I won't go into here, but stress coming from, of course, my side of the family, not my husband's side of the family. So whether or not they were going to make it. Oh, I can actually talk about my sister's drama. So she'd booked apartments months in advance, and they cancelled. So we managed to find her another apartment, cancelled. I think it was 2 weeks before she was due to fly out, another cancellation. So I had to spend a good morning trying to find her somewhere to stay. Luckily, I'd already had to do the same for my mum, and someone in the community was traveling for the whole of the winter. So my mum was going to stay in her house, and I had to be cheeky. And I said, I'm sorry, this is really cheeky, but my sister's been let down. She's happy to pay what she was going to pay for the apartment. Can she stay in your house? And thank God, this amazing woman said yes. So we were able to overcome that. But again, it was just felt like one thing after another for a couple of months. So I was like, now what? What's going on now? And there was also the tracking of budgets. And I know I've made lots of podcasts about finances and money mindset and, planning and financially planning for a wedding. There's always something that comes up. So it was tracking budgets. And again, this is something I'm still learning now, although it has been nice since I've only had one payday since the wedding. But for now, it's travel. That's it. That's all we've got to save for right now is travel. We've booked our honeymoon for March the 13th. So we've got a couple of weeks left. I will be making some vlogs while I'm there, but just the overload of the spreadsheet and ticking off whoever paid, what deposits need paying, what deposits haven't paid, what goes where, who needs paying the day after the wedding, etc., etc., etc. There was, questions from people, going to work, also making sure that I was planning my lessons. So all of these things, this invisible mental load that I didn't realize I had. So even when I wasn't actively doing, say, for example, wedding tasks, it was running in the background of my mind, like 37 tabs open. And I didn't realize just how much I was doing this until after the wedding. So I've said to lots of people, like, I loved the wedding day. I did enjoy planning. But when the wedding was done, I was kind of like, oh, okay, so I have been stressing a little bit about this. I have been constantly thinking about the wedding, for the past probably 6 months, it probably was. So all of these things were adding to me getting to a point where I had to step back and think, right, okay, let's reassess. But I'm going to say it again. Rest isn't failure. It's realign. Came down to it, started to have guilt and I guess a little bit of fear and pressure. Pressure, fear to maintain some kind of momentum. So when I did have to say, well, I'm going to have to pause the podcast because I feel like I can't do everything. And I pulled back on social media and I decided not to take any mentor clients. And I know that consistency matters, but what has been amazing is to see people still downloading my episodes. So every week, the podcast website that I use to upload the podcasts, I get an email to say X amount of podcasts downloaded this week, and they've been downloading. So they're still there. People are still listening, which was really nice. So thank you if you're listening to this, if you continued downloading. But I do know consistency matters. So there was the fear of, God, if I'm not posting, am I going to not be relevant? Disappearing feels risky, the algorithm. But again, I came back to what I've been craving, which is real person connection. And since I've been teaching more in person, I've had that connection. And it made me feel a lot better about slowly stepping back from the podcast for a couple of months because disappearing did feel risky. And there's this quiet voice in your head of if you stop, people are going to forget. But I realized I'd rather be forgotten for a small amount of time, because that's all it is, than resent everything that I was doing, resent and hate going onto social media. I've taken social media off my phone, which is a game changer, by the way. Everything's just done on my iPad. So when I get home, I'll jump on my iPad, and when I'm posting, I'll edit on there, send it to Instagram, and then I'm done. So if you do follow me on Instagram, I haven't been posting as much. I don't post Friday, Saturday, Sunday because I need that break from social media. And, it's something that we don't necessarily need in our lives. I know people rely on it for business and making money from that, which is great. But some of this doom scrolling that we can get stuck into and, the brainwashing, I guess, that we see on there, it just got too much for me. Everything's kind of got too much all in one go. Again, so that's why I had to take a step back. And again, thank you for people who have still been downloading and watching online, because it was a nice reminder of it's okay. You're not going to be forgotten. It's better to be forgotten for a small amount of time than it is to be resentful. I feel like this break has really taught me, it's taught me a few things actually, that we are, and I've spoken about this in a hormonal sense, that we have our own seasons. We are like the seasons. We have our summer where we feel amazing, and we have our winters where, we dip and we don't feel as amazing. And this can be just simple as, some weeks you're ready to launch, you're ready to work, you're in the gym, you're posting, you're teaching, you're hosting, you're doing all of the things. And then other weeks you just want to go home and cook some food and sit on the sofa. And that's okay. And whether it's down to hormonal shifts, emotional bandwidth, decision fatigue, the difference between stress and expansion. And I was happy, I was excited, but expansion still does require energy. And I think because I had so much going on in my outside world, my inside world was suffering. And sticking with the seasonal theme, it just popped into my head actually, which is why I've just paused. So it was obviously winter here. We're still in winter. The weather's still nice enough to be outside. And I was struggling bringing myself inside to record my podcast because I know that in the summer here, we can't really go outside, and I really struggle. I've spoken about this before. I am a nature girl. I'm a green witch. I like being outside. I need to hear the birds. I need to see the birds. Like just as I'm talking now, I'm watching a pigeon flying around. I need to be feeling that air on my face. And I felt like I had these admin afternoons when I was in between teaching where I was just sitting myself indoors when it was really nice weather outside. And my dad was here for a long time. We had all our family here. So again, just seasonally outdoors, I needed to give myself that break. So now the weather's warming up, I'm going to give myself my Monday afternoon when I'm between classes because I'm squeezing everything in, and I get a full day off as well from next week. So just allowing myself those changes. And I've also noticed that when I'm in my ovulation phase of my cycle, I'm also super tired. And that was heightened when I was tired. So I was hormonally tired, and I was tired from everything that was going on as well. So the planning, the doing. And that's okay. And I was stressed about the wedding, which I didn't realize at the time. So the emotional bandwidth there. And again, a reminder that you can still be in a beautiful season and feel stretched. So everything was going on in my life, amazing things, but I still felt stretched. I still felt like there wasn't enough of me to go around. I still felt like I couldn't do the wife things, the planning of the wedding, family coming over, enjoying my life, taking time out, having a break, and then all of the business side, because I was teaching in the studio, and then my own stuff, my podcast, my YouTube, my vlogs and recording. I still haven't got around to posting any YouTube videos where I'm teaching yoga, which is on my to-do list. But again, it was finding that space, finding that capacity, and it's okay. It is really okay. And there were moments I wondered if I was losing momentum, and is this something that I can keep going, even though I love doing the podcast and the social media stuff. And I felt like I was falling behind, and there was a guilt. I think there was also a little bit of fear because, when you're not doing this, when you're, if you work, whatever it is that you work with, if you're not doing it, are you irrelevant? And this can be applied to every single one of us. So whatever your job is, do you put a lot of pressure on yourself to be that? And of course we do. We have to go to work every single day. So there was this pressure that I was putting on myself that if I don't do it, then I'm going to become irrelevant. And all of that hard work is going to be wasted. And I guess also when you're not visible, there's that fear of being unseen. And again, are people going to forget about you? Are people going to not listen? If you take a step back, then that's it. Your time is done, and no more podcasts, no more downloads. And I also struggle, and I'd love to hear from you if you feel this as well, that when you're not busy, you feel uncomfortable. So I felt like when I did have space, I was kind of filling the gap. And when I didn't have space, there was no gap to fill, but it was really overwhelming, I hope that makes sense. And I was really confusing my productivity, my output, what I was doing with my identity. So again, I had to reflect on, okay, who am I? What am I doing? Why am I doing these things? And what can I take a step back from to give myself this space? And I really feel like another lesson I learned was that silence reveals what the noise hides. And I know that sounds really deep, but just moving away from social media allows me to have more present conversations because I'm not thinking I need to post, I need to do this, I've got to go edit this, and what am I going to do for my podcast? So I'm more present because I'm not constantly thinking about my online world. And definitely a deeper connection with myself, because again, when I'm at home, I'm reading now. I don't scroll. I do what I need to do. I'll post. I have a list of things, so I'll quickly jot down what I want to share next week, and I'm just making my content now as I go. I'm not batching. I'm not spending a whole afternoon doing it. I know that works for some people, but not for me. And what I found that I was obviously doing was trying to live this life that I see online, that, oh, you need to post XYZ, you need to batch your content, you need to do this, you need to post 5 times a week and these amount of stories. And oh God, it was a lot. It was a lot. And just stepping away from that is giving me space to think long term. So I'm not just thinking about, oh, okay, tomorrow is this and what am I doing next week? And I'm able to really solidify, okay, this is how I'm going to work. During the winter months, I'm going to do this. And during the summer months, I'm going to do this. And I was really trying to push my online world. But when it came to the time that I wanted to be outside, it didn't work. So I'm going to make it work for me. And again, this will then, for you listening to this, if you're beginning to resonate, if you're thinking, yes, I'm stretching myself too far, where can you pull back? Because you will find that the creativity comes back, that love comes back when you're not trying to stretch yourself too far, when you stop chasing. And now I feel like my ideas are coming back organically instead of forcing them. And I'm not constantly thinking, oh gosh, I can't think of a podcast. What can I do? And I need to edit and I need to do this. And what content can I do? Now I'm just like, okay, I'm going to post this. Someone will ask me a question. I'm like, right, yeah, that's my post. And today, podcast, just I'm back. Let's talk about it. Where have I been? What have I been doing? What have I learned? And how can this help you? Going back to the meat and the bones of my podcast. Is it meat and bones? The bones and the meat, whatever it is. You know the saying, the real cusp of my podcast, to support other women through my own lessons and through what I'm learning. So rather than, again, trying to put too much out there to stay relevant. I think I've said staying relevant a few times. Maybe it's just because I've watched Sam and Pete's podcast. The hard part, though, was the guilt and the comparison and thinking, I should be doing that. You know, I've got a podcast. I should be getting out there, and seeing other people launch things and thinking, oh God, you know, it's that guilt of I should be doing that. And then reminding myself that no, Joanne, you've decided you're going to do X, Y, Z because you haven't got the mental capacity to do that. And it took me a while to consciously choose long-term alignment over short-term validation. And I feel like that is maturity. That is me showing total maturity. And I want to share that with you. So again, if you're in this place where you are chasing and it's short-term validation, and it's okay, you know, we live in a world where there's a lot of short-term validation. We post, we want people to like the post. You know, we've become accustomed to that tiny little dopamine hit, whether we want to admit it or not, but we do. And, you know, the same as I've said this before, I know I'm going to be repeating myself from old podcasts, but I've said this before, I try not to chase the numbers. I have an email that comes to me on a Monday, I can see downloads, and that's it. And on my YouTube, you know, I'll check the views, and then I try not to let that drive me. But that is still some kind of short-term validation. So now I'm choosing long-term alignment. What can I do healthily, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually in the long run, rather than just this short-term, I need to get this done because, you know, I said I'm going to do it and I've got guilt when I don't do it, and my ego steps in. So my re-entry ritual. So I definitely have made sure, let's put this into steps. So when you're ready to re-enter, if you're taking a break, if this episode gives you permission to take a break from something, take it. And then we need our re-entry. Maybe it's in 4 months like me, maybe it's in 6 months, maybe it's just a couple of days. So we're going to regulate. So step 1 is regulate before you restart. So before I recorded today, I didn't script. I wrote down a few things that I wanted to talk about. I made sure that I had a list of, okay, I want to say where I've been, what I've been doing, quickly talk about the wedding, how my mindset was, and how have I come out of it. So there's no script, it's back to bullet points. I breathed, I meditated, I grounded, and I chose presence over performance. That's why I'm not going visual now, because I feel like I can be more present and just talk, let out what I need to let out, than having this perfection, trying to look good on camera and do my hair, my makeup, and, having that visual aspect there. I'll probably bring back the visual aspect, record, but right now, audio is enough, and that's okay. And that's what's helping me to regulate. That makes this job a lot easier because I can record, quickly edit, and put it out there. It's a bigger job when you're editing your own videos to put on YouTube. So how can you do this? So I know I've just listed loads of things. Just 5 minutes of breathing. So I've got this really nice video. I have some meditations on my YouTube actually, but I have one downloaded on my YouTube. It's a 15-minute sound bath. So I took 15 minutes before this. I've been doing a 15-minute sound bath for a few weeks now. You can just do 5 minutes, sit with your feet on the floor and ask, what feels true to me. So for me, it's like, what feels true to me to share today? And that's what I went with. Step 2, shrink the comeback. It doesn't need to be something dramatic. I'm not going to relaunch. I'm going to put something on my Instagram, just say podcast is back, and that's it. I'm not redesigning it. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm not going to announce a rebrand. I've just pressed record. And the same with my vlog. I'll put it on YouTube. The vlog is back. Go and check it out. And that's it. So momentum doesn't require fireworks. It requires just one honest action. And I know that the podcasts that I record, when I'm being honest, when I'm not trying to do anything fancy, they're the best ones. They are the best ones. They get the most downloads because the energy in it is sincere. And that's what I want to also bring back. So step 1, I've lost my steps now. What did I say? Regulate before you restart. Step 2, shrink the comeback. You don't need to announce it to everyone. You don't even need to announce that you're taking a step back. Just do it and then just come back. Step 3, let's redefine consistency. So consistency is not never stopping. Consistency is not perfect weekly uploads for me. Consistency is not you can fill in the gap for yourself. Consistency is coming back. Consistency is recommitting. Consistency is realigning when necessary. So whatever it is that you're doing, if you feel like you need to take a break from it, but you've got that, that consistency guilt, it's okay. Because you're going to come back, you're going to recommit, and you're going to realign. So step 3, redefine consistency. Return, recommit, realign. And then what's next? So I'm definitely not back in hustle mode. I'm back with clear boundaries, and I'm building a more sustainable way of doing all of the things that I want to do. So you'll find me, as usual, weekly download. I'll be posting it on my socials. That new podcast is out. It's just going to be audio. I'll have a weekly vlog. Of course, that's going to be video. It's a vlog. It's a video log. And even with that, it's just going to be simple. I've been watching loads of vlogs actually lately, just as a little bit of research. So who am I watching? Molly May, Chloe Sims. I guess they're the main two that I wasn't watching before, because I didn't think that I'd relate to them, if I'm honest. But they keep it really, they don't do anything fancy. Like I was vlogging when I was going to places. So here I am at the Royal Atlantis, blah, 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 blah. They don't do that. They're just like, right, I'm going shopping. I'm going here. I'm going to work. I'm doing this. So that's what I'm going to bring, because I enjoy watching vlogs, and I want people to enjoy watching my vlogs and hopefully inspire people, to do the things that they enjoy, that light them up. So again, I'm back, but I'm not hustling with it. It's gentle. It's just me. And I'm building sustainability. And in this way, I can do all of this in a sustainable way. It's not taking lots of time. 30 minutes maximum recording. That's how long my podcasts are going to be. I know last time I was a bit of a talker, but I would overshare. There was more video to it. So I'm pulling back. So this season isn't about proving, it's about depth. So I have a few reflection questions for you. I want you to think about where in your life you're forcing momentum. So everything I've shared today, is there an area that you can relate? Yes or no? If there's a yes, I want you to think about, would a pause actually serve you more? Can you pause 1 week, 2 weeks, 2 months, 4 months, whatever it is you need? And would it change if you stopped apologizing for your seasons? So by that, I mean, like I said, I haven't come on here. I'm not saying I'm sorry that I've been somewhere. I'm not going to say, I'm not apologizing for it. I'm explaining and why this feels good for me. Why I was in the season of stepping back and now I'm in the season of sustainability. Now I'm in my season of depth. Can you take a step back and think about what season do you want to be in, not what season are you in, unless you're in the season that you want to be in, of course. And let this be your reminder that you are allowed to build a beautiful life and step back from performance while you live it. That is okay. And that is it. Welcome back to me. So again, just a reminder, you'll be able to listen to this every single week. So thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to leave a comment, leave a 5 stars, whatever it is you can do on the podcast streaming site that you're listening on. Subscribe, hit that download notification button. I am back. You can download weekly from wherever you listen to, and you can catch my weekly vlog over on YouTube, and to come some yoga videos on my second channel. I'll update on that next week. But remember, we're building depth here. We're not forcing.